Previously on Hurts So Good Music.
A few moments later.
Find the power. I'm officially out of my coffee. So I'm going to click on this link and get myself some more. Seriously, Black Rifle Coffee, awesome. Try them. Good people. They really are. They're good people. It's a great company. They give back to veterans. If you're a veteran, first responder, whatever, first off, thank you. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Because people like you are the reason that I get to do cool stuff like this. And even though it's not what I do for a living yet, I have the freedom to do it. And it's because people fight for it. So thank you. Go to these guys, get yourself a discount on some coffee so you can wake up and keep protecting us and all of our freedoms. Ren, Money Game, Part 3. I'm going to stop talking. We're just going to get into it. All right, hold on. Don't hang me for this, but I'm going to do that again. My grandfather was a concert pianist, and when I was a kid growing up, we had a grand piano, like right when you walk into the door over to the right. And I remember listening to him and just being in awe. And you know, maybe that had a lot to do with me actually getting into music as I got older. My grandmother, his wife, was actually the one that bought me my first guitar. So that kind of brings me back to my musical roots. And I tell you what, I could listen to that style, that classical concert style piano. I could do that for hours and hours and hours and hours. I love it. So I'm going to do that again. Oh man, he's the suit now.
tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man, he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends. 14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself. 23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval, moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33, filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket. 35, he gets a call. I'm sorry son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack, I'm sorry, he's gone. 36, getting pissed off, abusing his product. 37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion, heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour. Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again. Fuck. Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words, mine, mine, gimme. 41, he wasn't walking. 42, not walking quickly. 43, never running round the pavements of his city. 44, inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves. Weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him, and it's a version of she, and it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck the money and fame. Cut the music. This isn't entertainment, this is real life. The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution? Everything is subject to change. We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains. But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd if there's more money for me, then there's no future I see where the humans survive with parasites inside a petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface and consume till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise. "45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants, he is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate. With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father, it's such a damn shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
Mixed feelings again. Obviously an extreme example. Very artistic, very creative. I definitely don't condone getting wrapped up in that kind of greed and craziness. I think, again, as I've stated in the last video, it's very important to remember that there's a balance to this. The idea that we can create utopias is ridiculous. And I hate to say it like that, because I, just like anybody else, would love to think that this world could live at peace. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. It can't happen. By all laws of nature, utopias don't exist. They just don't. Because you have a group of people, and actually, I'll tell you what, put 6 people in an apartment. 6 people. Just 6. Put them there for a year. 3-bedroom apartment, 2 per room. And watch what happens. By the end of that, somebody will not be pulling the weight. Somebody will be pulling most of the weight. Somebody will be leaving messes. Somebody will be cleaning the messes. It turns into a mess. A giant cluster. Because everybody is different. And weak people tend to take advantage of strong people. And then strong people take advantage of weak people. And it's just... I don't know why. It's how we're designed. So a utopia is a fantasy. And every time that humanity has tried to pursue a utopia, it has failed, and usually with a very, very high body count. Utopia, the utopian fantasy is dangerous. Now, that's not to say that we shouldn't strive for it. That's not to say that we shouldn't be peaceful towards one another, because really, changing the world starts with changing yourself. Be the change that you want to see. Be kind. Be good to people. Clean up your messes. Don't frickin' throw trash in the streets. Don't kill. Don't, do bad things. Don't commit crimes. Right? Hopefully we can all agree on most of that. I think we need to focus more on our personal behaviors and our own accountabilities. And if we did that, we wouldn't have as much need for this absolute outcry for a utopian society, which again is dangerous. Unchecked capitalism is also dangerous. You ever heard of the horseshoe theory politically? It states, it's the theory essentially that extreme left and extreme right are both closer to each other than anything in the center. If you go too far left, you're essentially part of the extreme right. If you go too far right, you're essentially part of the extreme left. All Marxism, right? And Marxism, as history shows us, is kind of dangerous. If that upsets you, I'm sorry. It's just the way that it is. If somebody told you that you could jump out of a plane without a parachute and you would survive, and 100 people before you did it, and they all died, and they said, no, not you, though, you're going to be the exception, would you still jump? Because I wouldn't. I'm sorry that I upset you, but I'm just looking at facts here. Money can be a helpful factor in happiness and freedom. It is not the determining factor. You have to be happy with yourself. Rich people get depressed too. Rich people unalive themselves as well. We've seen that. I can also tell you that the amount of debauchery and complete disregard for humanity happens on both extremes, extreme poor and extreme wealth. They treat people around them very similarly. And if you ever don't agree with that, go hang out in some bad parts of town with people who are very unfortunate people, and you will see violence and greed and people willing to trash their areas and walk all over each other for scraps. And it's sad. I'm not saying that's right. It's sad. But the rich do the same thing. They just have bigger scraps. So, I don't know. That's the end of my little rant there. Artistically, it's great. I really enjoyed this whole series. I just think it's really important that we remember that, it's not the world's responsibility to create a utopia around you and your feelings. It's not the world's responsibility to look after you financially, and the world will never care if you live or die. Some people in it will, but the world will keep turning. You are responsible for yourself, and you have to be responsible for your own happiness, because if you look to anybody else, it'll never happen. You have to be responsible for your own wealth. Go out and create it. And the more wealth you create personally, the more wealth that you create in your environment for your family, the more happiness you radiate and pass on to other people, the happier they will be. Encourage your friends to go out and make a good living doing things that make them happy. And the more people like that we have in this world, the more power good, wholesome people that are happy have over the people that we consider the elite, right? Or don't. I can't tell you what to do. I'm going to go back to not being as political after this. This was a very political series. So the next one is going to be some metal. Have a good day.